Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about Maryam Nawaz's return and the fact that, of course, she is now likely to come back and head the election campaign as far as the PMLN is concerned. What can we expect now that she's scheduled to return on the 29th of January as the party prepares for her return? We'll be talking about that within the PMLN. What kind of decisions, what kind of direction can we expect now after her return? We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about the process of interim CM, which is continuing as far as Punjab is concerned. Of course, as far as KP is concerned, we have a caretaker CM in place, and now 90 days from then on to the elections will follow. Also, as far as the EC is concerned, there seems to be a tentative date of 9th to 12th April as far as the polls are concerned, but the name of a caretaker CM in Punjab is still with the EC and likely to be now under the purview of the EC. When the PTI says that they will not accept it, what does it mean, and does it really have any tangible consequences? Does it have any, will it bear any ramifications? All of that today on Perspective. I have with me Rana Maqbool Ahmed, who's a senator with PMLN. Thank you for being with us. And we have with us Fareed Rais, who is a political analyst. Thank you for joining us. Ji, Rana Sahab, the PTI says that they will not accept certain names if they come from the EC. What does that mean? Is that just hyperbole? Is that them saying, you know, it seems that this is them saying that they will not accept the Karachi poll results, but of course they're there at this time, and then moving on from there also. We are also seeing them move on and take decisions from there, but they, you know, on one side, of course. Is it politicking? What is it?
Thank you very much, Islam, Sufri Saab, to you as well. This is their second habit now, to resist without any reason, unfortunately. But I personally think if tomorrow Election Commission announces the nomination, what can they do? They can approach the Supreme Court. They may go to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court may accept their plea or may not accept their plea. So decision has to be taken within a day or two. So it doesn't mean anything. They may not. There's a lawful avenue for them. They should go and get it closer to the Supreme Court and give their own viewpoint. But it cannot be prolonged by all means, because if this process is prolonged, then election cannot be held in time. So this is obstructionist philosophy they have been pursuing from day one. This has become their second habit,
Rana
which
Sahab,
is not.
Come back
which
to
is not.
Let me go to. We have with us Barrister Dr. Muhammad Ali Saif from the PTIG. Barrister Saif, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Barrister Saif, there is, again, this is what I was asking Rana Sahab. There is a statement from your leadership that you will not accept the certain names as far as Punjab is concerned for caretaker CM. What does that mean? Will you go to court? Do you expect the court to intervene? What do you expect? I mean, not accepting. Of course, once there's no agreement, like we've seen in Punjab between the parliamentary committee of on both sides, then of course it falls into the lap of the EC.
Yes, you're right. This is a situation that has caused problem in the sense that a caretaker chief minister is supposed to be neutral. He's supposed to be unbiased. He's supposed to be an unprejudiced person, and there is no point in nominating a person whose loyalties, whose bias is quite expressly visible. In this case, PTI's objection to these few candidates, or the names that have been forwarded by the PDM in Punjab, we are quite sure that they are sitting in the lap of PDM and they will not perform in a neutral manner. And therefore, the whole exercise of conducting elections in Punjab, which is supposed to be transparent, free and fair, will be compromised and will be jeopardized. So,
but Pastor Saab, wouldn't it have been better, of course, on both sides if your parliamentary committee and that of the PDM would have agreed on a name like, of course, we've seen in the KP now, you know, the process has been fairly smooth in time, and things have, you know, gone on smoothly. That unfortunately hasn't happened in Punjab. So, you know, to what do you attribute this failure to agree with the opposition?
Well, I attribute it quite clearly to the extreme polarization that exists between the political parties. Unfortunately, this is a factual reality that political parties are at loggerheads with each other, and they are not even willing to sit and even discuss issues. Like in KP, we also had this problem, but we did find a way to manage the situation in such a manner that.
But Barrister Saab, we've seen in the past there have been accusations made on caretaker CMs, which have then, you know, in effect been retracted or not substantiated. When that kind of a past exists, of course, there will be this kind of polarization that you're mentioning yourself, and it's up to the politicians themselves to decrease that kind of tension, to decrease that polarization. Would you agree?
Indeed, I do agree with you 100%. This is the only way out to get out of a quagmire situation where you have politicians at loggerheads with one another, and where they do not agree or do not concede to each other's proposals or demands. But the problem is that given the fact that this situation exists, now we have to find a way out. And the only way out is either to accept each other and each other's proposals, which in the case of Punjab seems to be a logical impossibility. So therefore, the matter has to go to the Election Commission. But unfortunately, or actually, I believe that even Election Commission's decision will also become controversial by either side. I mean, it is possible that the candidate, the person they select or nominate for caretaker chief minister, might not be acceptable to one or the other side. So I believe that there will be issues, there will be accusations, there will be recriminations, but we have to find a way, and we have to.
That's an interesting, Barrister Saab, that's an interesting term that you've used. You've said logical impossibility. Before I go to Rana Saab, I want to, you know, for the system to exist itself, even elections, even, you know, moving on to the formulation of the cabinet after caretaker CM, all of those things will necessitate some kind of a dialogue between both sides. Do you think, you know, how do we go towards that? How do we move towards that, you know, in this kind of a polarization again?
Well, that is the million-dollar question. In fact, the situation is such that we are at, you know, we are quarreling with each other on every petty issue, and I believe that the politics has, our politics, unfortunately, has come to a state where refusing to find a way is the norm of politics, which is unfortunate. It should be managing affairs and differences in such a way that you find a solution. Over here, we find a situation where we do not find a solution, and we call it politics. So this is the unfortunate reality. But you know,
and you would blame both sides.
Yes, I believe it has you know, every situation has a history, and you have to see it in a historical context. I believe the confrontational politics in Pakistan, the polarization, the extreme polarization, has kind of developed such a mentality that we oppose one another in almost every respect, sometimes illogically, sometimes on some grounds. But in this kind of situation, I believe, I'm hopeful that if we want to, and if the intention is to find a solution and a way out, then that can be managed, as in the case of KP. I believe that we also had the same problem, but we did find a solution, and we agreed on a person. PTI may have objections to him or the others, but at least we agreed that, okay, he is comparatively a better person, and we can hand over the responsibility to him.
And how much, I mean, of course, it is a caretaker CM, but, you know, let me come back to you. Please stay with us. I'm going to go to Rana Saab. Rana Saab, how much, you know, when we talk about the kind of, you know, the kind of authority that a caretaker CM has, let's be candid, you know, in terms of getting the elections through, making sure that the electoral procedure is smooth, unbiased, all of those things, but there is an election commission for that. So how much leeway does a caretaker CM, in your opinion, really has?
He is a very important person for the process of election because he is the chief executive of the president for this period, which has been, he would be the caretaker chief minister. He has to take care of everything. Since total, though constitutionally, legally, the administration becomes subordinate to the election commission, but the real boss is the chief minister. So he has a role, does a very important role. This reminds me of an episode. First of all, I'll submit to my honorable friend, he's a very learned person, that let's not prejudge the situation, let's wait for tomorrow. Maybe the election commission gives a decision which becomes acceptable to all the parties. Let's not criticize the election commission today for the selection. There should not be any presumption about that. So maybe it is a correct decision and it will be acceptable to all the parties. It reminds me of one episode, very brief episode. Honorable Saab Sir was also a senator, and he was sitting there. I suppose, maybe he was not, but I think it was an open session about there were speeches about the elections. And these two honorable personalities, caretaker interior minister, it was Azam Khan Sahab, and caretaker law minister, it was Ali Zafar. So I stood up and tried to explain it to the Honorable House that Azam Sahab is, what I understand, is brother of an icon of police commander like Abbas Khan. And identically, Ali Zafar is the son of our teacher, a law laureate, S.M. Zafar. So we expect a lot from them. And I expect genuinely and justified in accepting that they'll deliver and they will assert everywhere to do the righteous thing. And they'll catch hold of everybody whosoever is defying or resorting to any dereliction in the process of election. But unfortunately, the result was altogether different. Sometimes even if you expect and try to choose a person of total neutrality position, but he is not able to deliver. So delivery also matters later on. Let's pray that, as he has rightly mentioned,
right,
polarization,
let me come back to you.
Polarization doesn't affect him. But right. I think the day after tomorrow, I personally think, and this is my sixth sense as well, you will write a correct decision and both the parties will accept the decision of the election commission.
Let's hope so. Let me come back to you. Ji, Fareed Saab, overall, same question from you. Do you think, we've just had Rana Saab, tell us an incident overall, but as far as the purview of a caretaker CM is concerned, we saw earlier there were allegations made against former CM in Punjab, which were then later unsubstantiated. They remained largely unsubstantiated and also in some cases retracted. So in your opinion, do you think that it's a case of just disagreeing for the sake of disagreeing? How do you look at it?
I think so. It is not the time for these kind of arguments in terms of the political parties are concerned. At this moment, as the topic of your program today is as the return of Maryam Nawaz Sahib. As the Punjab Assembly has been dissolved, the names of the caretaker has not been accepted by both the political parties, neither the PDM nor the PTI. Now the matter will go to has been to the election commission, and this election commission will decide about the name of that. And as indicated by the former the CM Punjab, but Parvez Elahi Saab as not yet former.
Of course, Rana Saab is of the opinion that there will be a name that will be accepted by both sides.
Hope so. It should be done. But as far as Punjab politics is concerned, in the year 2022, we have seen what had happened in the province of Punjab. The people of Punjab have been suffered from what they should have been availed of what they voted for. As you saw the ruckus in the Punjab Assembly, what happened over there. As you saw about the tussle, the tug of war between in the power of the Punjab politics over there. Now I think so that these kind of things should be settled once and for all. Let the elections in the Punjab as PTI dissolve the assemblies. I think so. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and as far as the PDM also, They both should now start thinking about what the country is going through, the economic challenges, what we are going through, what a common man is going through at this moment. What are the challenges in terms of our economy? How we can resolve that thing. The only responsibility of the caretaker is to make sure about
to ensure that the elections are free and fair. And of course, I mean,
the basic question
but that's
over
the
here.
EC also,
But
right?
the basic
That's
question over here is what I am raising the question again and again, and what I ask it because I haven't got the answer till now, that who will accept the results of the election which would be held in Punjab? Who will accept the results?
I hope that
of the
Barrister Saif is with us. Ji, Barrister Saab, are you here with us?
Yeah, I am.
Ji, Barrister Saab, this is a question for you. I guess, overall, as far as the election results are concerned, at this time there is a statement from your party as far as Sindh is concerned, Karachi is concerned, that you don't accept the local polls. Yet the process further to that is the PTI is being a part of that. It's continuing. If the kind of polarization you yourself have mentioned, whatever the results may be, if they are not to the expectation of the PTI, will you accept the results, or will there be again the kind of agitation that we've seen, the kind of politics of agitation that unfortunately we've seen in the recent past?
Well, you see, it's just like forecasting the future and making assumptions about what will transpire later in the post-election scenario. But my understanding is that in so far as Karachi is concerned, that's a different ball game altogether, because Karachi election was conducted by Election Commission, but the party in power was an opposition party, People's Party, and we have all evidence, not just PTI, but even other parties, that absolute massive level of rigging was conducted, was committed, and that's why every party, even Jamaat Islami and others, are opposing it. But insofar as caretaker government is concerned, you see, the constitutional dispensation must be kept in mind. The Constitution provides that if the parties do not, the opposition and the government does not agree, the matter has to be decided by the Election Commission, and then it stops there. So it means that the final verdict lies with the Election Commission. Whether we agree with the nomination by Election Commission or not is a different matter altogether. I understand that if the person nominated by the Election Commission is not acceptable to PTI or anybody else, I mean, the only course open is probably, I'm saying probably because there has been no precedent as such for that, but the only course of action that would lie is before a court of law, which I think would not entertain it, in the sense that election has to be conducted within a certain given time, and if there is no bias apparent on the face of that decision by Election Commission, then probably it will prevail. But insofar as rigging is concerned, of course, I believe that the conduct of the caretaker government will have to be kept in mind, and the conduct of Election Commission has to be kept in mind. In the past, all the elections have been marred with allegations of misconduct, rigging, and all kind of illegal actions. So my understanding is that we must be ready to face such allegations in the future elections as well. I don't think that either side, or at least one side, whoever loses, will be happy with the election results.
So you're saying that either, so you're saying whichever side loses or does not do as well as they expect will be coming forward with these allegations, and that is something that you expect. But to moving on from that process, as far as PTI is concerned, they're a party known. They're the ones who have been, the politics of agitation, all of those things are fortunately or unfortunately associated with the PTI. Do you see, a smooth transition later on further to these elections in Punjab, or do you see more agitation?
Well, I believe that PTI has always, indeed, PTI is a party which has introduced actually, and which has practiced non-traditional politics in Pakistan. I believe it's the first time in Pakistan's political history that a party has taken a different line of action as opposed to the traditional political parties in Pakistan. So my understanding is that PTI will probably, we are apprehensive definitely that some kind of misconduct will be planned and will be executed in the elections. But insofar as Whether we are going to agitate or not, of course, we have a right to agitation. But in the past also, we have accepted results and we have joined the governments or formed governments, even despite the fact that we were alleging rigging and other kind of, election misconduct. So I believe it's a matter of real politics, frankly. When once election is done, of course, everybody accepts it and concedes to the result. But
Basis Sahab, one last question. I know that you have little time before I go to Rana Sahab. Overall, as far as your allegations, your acceptance of resignations is concerned, that is a question that has, been something I think earlier on this very program, that has been something that the PTI has been asking for. Now, the acceptance of those very resignations are raising, they're raising fingers on that same issue. How do you look at this whole? Ji, Basis Sahab, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Ji, so now when these resignations are being accepted, and those resignations, as I understand the speaker has said, on which there is little doubt, because these people have said categorically on media all over that they have resigned, so there's little doubt about the credibility of these resignations. So why has this suddenly become an issue then?
Well, I believe that our position is quite clear. We did apply for, we did submit our applications to the speaker on time that we want to resign, and he was supposed to accept it in the normal course of, the normal manner in which resignations are accepted. But then this particular action where he started, where the speaker started accepting resignations in 35 once and then followed by another 35 resignations, I believe it is the manner which we are objecting to, because the manner of the acceptance of resignation in fact clearly points to the malafide, to the biased way in which these resignations are accepted, not because there is a constitutional requirement for these resignations to be accepted, but because they want to prevent the PTI come back into the assembly so that their nefarious designs which they want to claim to power.
Earlier on when they were not accepting the resignations, they wanted you to stay in the assembly. And that was not pursuant to some design. I mean, because obviously there was a delay in accepting these resignations. There was again and again statements from the government saying that the PTI should become part of the National Assembly and take up their role there. And then, so that position has now changed, you're saying.
Yes, and then they took a U-turn and changed their plans, and then they started damaging party position in the National Assembly by accepting our resignations in groups. And I believe that even a layman who has no sympathy with either People's PTI or with PDM parties, but simply by looking at the conduct of speaker, he can tell that it's a biased manner. It's a manner which speaks of malafide and kind of ill will on behalf of the speaker.
Okay, thank you for being with us, Basis Sahab. Thank you for your time. Ji, Rana Sahab, I want to move on and talk about Maryam Nawaz's return and the fact that she will be heading the party through the elections. Overall, what do you see? I mean, she has been a force to reckon with during earlier elections. We saw. How do you see? Do you see the direction of the party? Of course, when she'll come back and the preparations at this time. Overall, how do you see things changing? Of course, she's a dynamic leader. Of course, her leadership, PMLN has benefited from her leadership earlier on also. What is your overall opinion about what direction the things will take after her return?
Before that, I want to make one submission. Minister Saif has remarked that there was a change in policy. You might remember on 25th of May, on the first day of agitation, it was decided by the government to dissolve the assemblies and go for elections. But at the same time, the leader of PTI threatened, I will topsy-turvy everything and I will throw everybody out of Islamabad. So it could not be done because he threats everybody. Now, here, in this case, He didn't move an inch towards the National Assembly, despite the President, the Supreme Court, and other men of opinion have been telling him to get back to the Parliament because that's the correct forum for this purpose. He started threatening whose legs are trembling and whose color has gone pale and he has sleepless nights and do this and I do this. And you see the reaction. There has to be some ethics, some manners, some etiquettes, some demonstration of patience, amity, understanding, respect for others. He wants to do and bulldoze everything with force. It's therefore this change of policy in the National Assembly is. Now, getting back to Maryam. Luckily, she is coming, mashallah, she underwent that procedure and she has come out of it and she's absolutely now good in health. And she'll be landing not on 29th, on 27th. She'll start off on 26th and land on 27th at Lahore Airport, and she'll be given very warm welcome because we need her. And you have rightly pointed out about her charisma and about her creative politics. It will bring a sea change in the policy of the political life of the Muslim League, and it will galvanize everything, her coming, and the basic purpose is to mobilize the public and try to persuade the people what has happened and what's the now under the new circumstances, the narrative of the party. And she will have to give a program, and she'll give a program to the people, what they are up to and how would they repair the damages which already have been done, and bring a normal life to the people and rescue the nation from this quagmire of turbulence and uncertainty and high inflation. This is the mission. All the same, she is not a tested person. The tribulations and the predicament she has underwent. You remember, you are yourself honorable lady, she was a mother, she was a daughter, the way she was treated and these hardships, very few ladies come across in their life. She was confined into a death cell and medicine was stopped and she was not given proper food, she was not well in those days, and all these, and she was not allowed even to talk for a moment to her dying mother. So it was a very tragic situation. We shouldn't have done this. So the tradition of Yazid was in a way revived by our friends like PTI leadership, but she has been through this very bravely. So
let me come back to you. On that note, let me come back to you. Fareed Sahab, overall, as far as leading electoral campaigns are concerned, certainly Maryam has done so before also. Maryam Nawaz has been responsible for, we saw numerous electoral campaigns during the last couple of years. Even we saw in Gilgit-Baltistan, we saw, overall in Punjab also. As far as leadership is concerned within in PMLN, how do you see this development? Of course, we have been hearing that, of course, after her return, perhaps Mia Saab himself, Mia Nawaz Sharif, will return at a later date. Of course, there are no confirmations till now. But, overall, do you think that this is a time for the PMLN that perhaps will, there'll be as this electoral campaign being headed by Maryam itself will have its own effects in Punjab, considering that she hasn't been here for a while, and that itself will perhaps have favorable changes?
I think so. There is a big challenge for the PDM government, and if you talk about particularly to the PMLN or the return of Maryam Nawaz Sharif Sahib to Pakistan and followed by Mia Nawaz Sharif Sahib to Pakistan and making an atmosphere for the elections in the coming days or coming months in the Pakistan. I think so. The PDM government has to face a very big challenge in terms of the biggest challenges here is the economic challenge. As far as the inflation rate is concerned, the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, as you must be aware of, that it's more than 31% of the inflation rate at this moment in Pakistan. Now, the current government is trying its level best to make sure that all the talks with the IMF should be done so that the IMF should release the amount which Pakistan is badly needed. But as far as the tough, the difficult decisions were concerned and which was expected to be taken by the current government. Before that, Mifta Ismail Saab was there for the PDM government. The finance ministry was with him, but afterward the return of Mr. Ishaq Dar Saab, and there were much expectations, and everybody was eyeing on Ishaq Dar Saab on his return. That
you're saying that there are challenges, and
yes, there are challenges. Yes. But at this moment, I feel, as far as my opinion is concerned, that the current government delayed in taking some kind of the tough and the difficult the decision which should have been made earlier, because as each day is passing by, the current situation and the challenges is multiplying over there. Now the government has decided to take some kind of tough decisions. They have decided to impose some kind of taxes. But at the other way around, the return of Maryam Nawaz Sahaba and the return of Mia Nawaz Sahab over there, and by taking over and leading all the political campaigns in terms of all the elections, whether in Punjab and KP or the general elections, I think so the tough decisions taken by the current PDM government will be knocked by the PTI. They will criticize this kind of a thing, and definitely PTI will take this thing into their own political campaign.
But but the point is, let me come back to you. I have with me Iftikhar Ahmed, who's a senior journalist. Iftikhar Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Iftikhar Saab, we're talking about Maryam Nawaz return to lead the party through these polls in Punjab and its effect overall on the PMLN, on their election campaign that is likely to happen very soon, start very soon. How do you see this? And of course, as far as the tough decisions are concerned that have already been taken by the PDM and that are likely to still, that are likely ahead very soon. How do you look at, do you think that the voter is cognizant of the fact that these decisions had to be taken and that this is moving towards a long-term, economic revival, or do you think that, that understanding, that awareness is not there?
I think economic revival is far away. Just wait for another year. I don't see economic revival in the future. Months. It will take at least 1 year if we start working tomorrow on the economic revival. One. Two, Maryam definitely will do her best to win the election, and she will lead the party. That is a positive point with the PMLN, because she can deliver the leadership which is required during election campaign, and she will do.
No, but the question is, when we talk about tough decisions that were earlier delayed by the PTI, that fell into the lap of this government, do you think that, how do you look at, how do you rate our voter in Punjab at this time? Do you think
the
that
voters the voter in the cities will have a different point of view, while they will be going to vote, and in the rural area, the people will have a different point of view and approach towards voting.
But as far as the PTI is concerned, the fact that their narrative, they
have a right to exploit the situation. They are a political party. They must, because if they are a political party, they must exploit if they can. We have to still see what can they do it or not.
But that's my question. To what degree do you think they can exploit it?
Well, they can do to any extent, and they are going to all the extent. They can use any card. They can use the card of Islam, and they can use the card of anti-corruption. They can use the card of that we people are being.
But what about? But Iftikhar Saab, what about their own narratives? What about the failure of their own narratives?
The bad luck of the Pakistan is this: nobody asked them what they have been doing in the last time when they were in power for 4 years. What they were doing in KPK for the 9 years. That is the problem. That is a dilemma with our media and our intellectual. They don't ask these questions. They live day to day.
Iftikhar Saab, as far as there are numerous, of course, there's a rumor mill. There is a lot of there's no end to sensationalizing issues like the elections, like the caretaker setup, all of those things. Before I go to Rana Saab, overall, do you think that there is there is anything to these kind of rumors that do happen time to time. Of course, there's no constitutional provision for it. When we talk about elongating the caretaker setup, or we talk about a technocratic setup, all of those things.
There will be no technocratic setup in Pakistan. It will be unconstitutional. One very clear word from me. Okay. And as far as this system is concerned, the KPK has decided it, and today they had a new chief minister who's there to caretaker, look after the caretaker setup. They have decided it, and sooner Punjab will have its caretaker setup. That's all.
Do you think it will have ramifications for the National Assembly also?
Why? Why? The National Assembly will complete its tenure, the tenure which has been mentioned in the Constitution. And yes, if the Prime Minister feels that he wants to dissolve the Assembly, he has a right to do it. But no one can force them. They have been trying to force them since the last April.
But isn't it true?
Because I believe in the Constitution, I will go with the Constitution. If the Parliament decides that they have to go for the election, they are the people who will decide it. Not some mob will go and try to capture the Assembly chambers or a speaker room. No, not at all.
But what's happening as far as the National Assembly is concerned? There is acceptation.
Let the National Assembly complete its tenure according to the Constitution.
No, but when the PTI suddenly decides that it is now, willing to go back into the National Assembly,
they can go. They should go. They should go. They should go if they want to go. They should go. If they are the member of the Parliament, they should go and sit over there and criticize the government policies.
No, but if the Kharsab, they haven't been wanting to do so for nearly a year now after the resignations, and now that the resignations are being accepted.
It is because of two wrong things. One, of Darsab coming from England and asking I am still the member of the Parliament. Second, the man from the MPA, I don't remember his name, who has been a federal minister also. He remained out of the Provisional Assembly Punjab, and one day he decided, no, I am going to the Punjab Assembly for the vote. These two examples are no good example, and they are using those two examples to justify their action.
Let me come back to you. Ji Rana Sahab, I think this is a question for you.
Which one?
The same one, as far as the what Iftikhar Sahab is saying, as far as the acceptance of these resignations are concerned, as far as PTI coming back to the National Assembly is concerned. He's mentioned Dar Sahab coming back. How would you explain it then? Do you think that it's same treatment is being meted out? How do you answer this?
I've been always advocating this thing that they must get back to the National Assembly, they come back to the Parliament and they participate in the parliamentary practices. It's not very healthy exercise on their part. They quitted the Parliament voluntarily, and we were, not only people like me, the government itself, the President of Pakistan, the Supreme Court asked them to get back to the Parliament, but they were insisting to stay out of the Parliament. Irrespective of what an MP has done or the finance minister has done. It was direct communication, and there were appeals to them. They were not coming. Now, once they thought there will be a caretaker government, and the leader of the opposition, the president and the leader of the opposition will play a role in appointment of the caretaker prime minister, then they thought of this. So their politics is not very imaginative, and academically, they're not very up to date, except for creating a lot of commotion and purposeless commotion, wasting time, wasting energy. This is what they have been doing. Their style has been very abusive, you know it. It was so derogatory, and they have wasted time. Now they want to come back. Their style, I've already mentioned today, that once they decided to come back, first of all, they threatened the government and the parliament. Okay, Imran Khan said, I'm coming. Now the legs are trembling of the opponents. Their colors have been facial colors have been gone pale. They have lost the sleep in the nights. So his posture and his way of addressing the people is so annoying and so aggressive. So therefore, this is the reaction by the parliament and by the speaker. If you want to come here to disturb peace of the parliament, we will not let you come because you have already resigned. This is our prerogative. We accept your resignation or not. So his politics is not politics of principles. His politics is politics of commotion and unnecessary schmozzle. Therefore, he will not be able to, because, or more so, he has to take the oath again if he wants to come. I don't know whether he can take the oath because in his previous membership, he was disqualified by the Election Commission. So this is
fair enough.
issue.
Let me go to Fareed Sahab. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Ji, Fareed Sahab, your comments overall as far as this resignation scenario is concerned.
Yes, as we all know about this thing, PTI was not of this opinion that they would come to the assembly and they will come back and they will serve some kind of a things over there. They were they just wanted to exert some kind of a pressure over there. And after the vote of confidence which was acquired by the CM Punjab Parvez Lai over there, PTI got confident that they have the numbers and they can manage the numbers, as they claimed that many of the PMLN members of the National Assembly, they are claiming this thing that the PMLN people and the members of the National Assembly, they are communicating with the PTI.
But they've been claiming for a while.
Yeah, this is the thing. But as Rana Sahab discussed over it, that's okay. They gave an indication for the vote of confidence for the Prime Minister. But on the other hand, the PDM government said, okay, we are very much fine with the vote of confidence. It doesn't matter. But it is the prerogative of the Speaker of the National Assembly, because previously Pakistan
especially because your resignations have now been pending with and for since April of last year.
Yes, they had with the Speaker, as the Speaker already stated.
And they kept coming on media and saying that we have resigned.
We have resigned. Please accept the resignation, as the Speaker already stated that okay, previously that when I was not accepting the resignation, they were yelling at him that he should accept the resignation, and by now when he accepted this, so at this moment the PTI should not make this kind of thing as a controversy or criticize the government.
So then again, my question: are they not exposing themselves to their voter?
They are actually exerting the pressure, and they are actually creating the pressure, and actually they are trying to put up more pressure on the government, as far as I stated earlier, that the biggest challenge for the people, for the Pakistan over here, the economic challenges.
Or they're underestimating their voter.
No, I don't think so. They are underestimating their voter. I think so that they are just showing that they portray their voter that they have the power and they have the power to come on the street. They can do anything, whatever they can.
Right, fair enough. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for being with us, Rana Maqbool Ahmed Sahab. Thank you for joining us today. Barrister Dr. Muhammad Ali Saif, thank you for joining us. Fareed Rais Sahab, thank you for being with us. Iftikhar Ahmed Sahab, thank you for your time. Overall, of course, when we talk about politicking, when we talk about the politics over acceptance of resignations or not delay in acceptance of them, all of those things, when we talk about change of narrative, when we talk about retracting statements, all of those things, are we in a sense, is it based on a certain underestimation of the voter, or are we saying that the voter isn't cognizant of the realities of politics? Are we saying that the voter doesn't know that tough decisions have to be made for economic revival? Are we thinking perhaps our political parties in a sense underestimating their voter in Punjab? That is a question that I want to leave my audience with. When we talk about playing with issues like resignations, when we talk about playing with issues like economy, when we talk about thinking that long-term solutions for long-term revival which necessitate price increase in utilities, things like this are something that the voter doesn't understand. Is it true that the voter really doesn't understand them, or is it true that we are underestimating our voter, and that there is perhaps a deeper understanding which will manifest itself in the election results? Thank you so much for joining us today on President.